huge NFL news today impacts the Arizona Cardinals. That's what we're going to look at on today's show. And so I welcome everybody in to Cardinals Today by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Joey O'Donoghue, and this also affects their plan at quarterback. What is it? We're going to do a deep dive on today's show by Chat Sports. But first, I want your opinion in the comments section about something. Do you think the Cardinals are going to bring in another quarterback to add to this quarterback battle of Brissett and Minshew, which really isn't even a battle? It seems like Brissett is just going to be the starter here with Minshew as QB2. Do you think someone else gets added to this mix? Type Y for yes, type N for no. All I need is a letter in the comment section from you guys to hear your opinion. But feel free to elaborate on who you think they'd bring in, someone in the draft, someone in free agency still. Let me know if they're going to bring in another quarterback at all in that comment section. So as you may have heard by now, the Las Vegas Raiders signed quarterback Kirk Cousins to their roster, and this does have a little bit of a domino effect on what the Cardinals were trying to do. Well, number one, it'd be incredible if Fernando Mendoza didn't go number one overall now because they're going to start Kirk Cousins. But no, that is not likely. The plan, believe it or not, for the Raiders is actually that Mendoza sits and learns a little bit behind a veteran, and that's why they went out and got Kirk Cousins. Still seems like they're going to take Mendoza first overall, but that would have been fantastic for Arizona Cardinals fans. But what really affects them the most is this report from Dianna Russini of The Athletic that Cousins had interest from several teams, including the Cardinals. They tried to go out and get Kirk. He had his pick of destinations, Rams, Packers, Cardinals, and Raiders, and he actually chose Las Vegas because he thinks he can get a starting opportunity there. Okay, and now you think about all the quarterbacks the Cardinals have tried to go after in free agency, right? And so they tried to get Kirk. They were heavily interested in Malik Willis. He chose Miami. They want Jimmy G. Why has that not come to fruition? Is Garoppolo really turning down the Cardinals, even though he could start there with LaFleur? Maybe free agents just don't want to come here, folks. And they're trying, and the Cardinals are being put in a bad situation. And now in a quarterback market in free agency that was already slim pickings, it's even slimmer, with Kirk Cousins off the board and a couple others like Kyler Murray signing elsewhere, Malik Willis signing with the Dolphins, as I mentioned. So that leaves Aaron Rodgers, who seems like it's Steelers or bust for him. There's still that long shot opportunity he would pick the Cardinals because of his relationship with Nate Hackett and because of the warm weather in Arizona compared to the cold AFC North in Pittsburgh. Okay, but nobody knows what Rodgers is doing. He's holding the Steelers captive right now. Jimmy G still a free agent technically. Why is that not come to fruition? Tyrod Taylor, Russell Wilson, I'm not interested in. Teddy Bridgewater, ironically, would be the perfect bridge quarterback, but who's seen him play football recently and look good at all? There's not many options out here, folks, so what are we supposed to do? But I think what's telling about the report that they wanted Kirk Cousins, they wanted another quarterback in free agency, is the Cardinals realize this is not the perfect quarterback room. This is not the winning recipe. It's fair to have your grievances with this quarterback room. A lot of teams making fun of it right now. A lot of analysts making fun of it right now. I get it. And listen, Brissett and Minshew, they're good veterans. Okay, they can play. Brissett can play football. He's not your answer. He's not going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league by any stretch of the imagination. But they're decent, okay veterans. But in this division of the NFC West that is so tough, the defenses are tough. The coaching staffs are good. Matthew Stafford's an MVP quarterback. Like, Seahawks won the Super Bowl. It's not going to make you competitive to roll Brissett out there, folks. And the most important thing for the Cardinals this offseason really is getting that O-line right, okay? I like the addition that they made of Sayamalu. You still need a right tackle desperately. A lot of people think now it will be that right tackle. I think that's a good decision. You need a right guard, too. That's the most important thing. If you're going to want any success here in that division, the O-line's got to hold up this time. But I will tell you, with how important quarterback is these days, folks, if this quarterback class was better, they would absolutely be taking a quarterback at pick 3. Wouldn't be a question. The fact of the matter is, outside of Mendoza, no QB is worth the 3rd overall pick. But if there was, no doubt in my mind, the Cardinals would be taking one. It's an issue. It's a position of need. It's something that needs solving. And they haven't solved it, and they haven't been able to in free agency. And so you wonder if the draft will provide a quarterback solution for 2026 for the Arizona Cardinals. Well, Ty Simpson has been mocked to Arizona a lot. A lot of people actually speculate that they're going to move up to get Ty Simpson because sometimes you got to do that. Trade up to get the quarterback that you like. There's no guarantees there in the second round. I think if the chips fall naturally, he would be. Again, Steelers waiting on Aaron Rodgers to make their decision. Outside of Pittsburgh, I could see Simpson being an Arizona Cardinal, but they would have to trade up to get him. And 15 games started in college football. That is a reasonable concern. There's a track record, quarterbacks that haven't started many games that don't succeed in the National Football League. And look, the numbers were good in his 15 games, and especially early on in the college football season, the first 8 games, well, there was a case that Ty Simpson was going to be the best quarterback coming out. If you watch the back half of the season, though, there's no question in my mind, Mendoza clears Ty Simpson, and even though he had some good numbers, I still think he should have stayed in college football for a little bit. He'll tell you he's a franchise quarterback, though. And there are good traits in Ty Simpson. He's the second best quarterback in this class. Key note there is this class. But Ty Simpson's as confident as ever. In fact, I'm going to let you guys listen because I want the Cardinals fans to be fully educated. That's what this show is about, getting you the best information, news, and rumors surrounding your favorite football team. So take a listen to Ty Simpson, word for word, about him being a franchise QB.
Yeah, first off, right, I feel like I'm ready. I'm a franchise quarterback. Like I said earlier, like the Alabama is, prepares you most for the NFL. With the infrastructure that they had and, the guys from Coach Saban, Coach DeBoer, Coach Grubb, all the coordinators that I had before, I run an NFL-type system. It's definitely prepared me for, saying those long play calls, saying those checks, making sure that, I get us in the right protection. And also as well, right, like, everybody talks about my starts, but I've played in, other games besides that, and I've played against, really good NFL players. I think about my freshman year, right, like learning from the number 1 overall pick in Heisman Trophy winner, going on defense, going on scout team. I got Will Anderson, Dallas Turner, Henry To'oTo'o. I got Kool-Aid on one side. I got Terry on the other side. There's a number of, first and second round draft picks that, I went against and who I was in the locker room with. So, like I said, the Alabama locker room was as close as a locker room in the NFL as you can get.
Some good answers there. I do think Ty Simpson can be successful in the right system. I don't want to put the kid down. I do think he could be a successful quarterback. And like I said, he's QB2 in this class. Obviously, Dan Orlovsky's been going viral. He's been been famous for saying that Ty Simpson's going to be the best quarterback in the class. Okay, there are people that think that, apparently. Really funny segment on the Pat McAfee show, if you haven't seen it, by the way. Apparently, Orlovsky texted multiple GMs and decision makers his take, and 2 of them got back to him with a disagreement. I don't know. But anyway, I don't think he's better than Mendoza at all. But a guy like Ty Simpson, well, that is the style of quarterback that Mike LaFleur perhaps likes. He could fit Mike LaFleur's system. Working under Sean McVay with Matthew Stafford, they like those style of quarterbacks. Pocket passers, stand there and deliver. That was LaFleur's number 1 thing, was a quarterback who's tough and a quarterback who can stand in the pocket if you're going to be successful. On the other hand, I don't think he's anywhere near the prospect of the incoming quarterback class in 2027. Plenty of quarterbacks going to fly off the board right away in the top 5, top 10, I would imagine, if I were projecting that right now. And so maybe I'm being a perfectionist here, but I wouldn't mind Ty Simpson if he's there in the second round. I don't want to give up draft capital to get Ty Simpson. I'm not in the market of trading up back into the first round to get Ty Simpson. And maybe I'm trying to create the perfect scenario for the Cardinals because I want this team to succeed pretty soon. But I wouldn't be in the market of giving up the Cardinals' 3rd round pick, and who knows, maybe more, to get back into the first round, as well as your second, obviously, to get Ty Simpson. We have such a great quarterback class around the corner. But the thing is, the reality of the fact of the matter is that quarterbacks in this league are so important. And when teams love a quarterback, they will do anything to get him. When you love a quarterback, teams make these blockbuster trades to get up and get their QBs, folks. We see it year after year after year. And so if they love Ty Simpson, they're going to trade up in the first round and make sure to get him. And maybe me, just trying to play perfectionist, like I said, I would rather we sit and wait and see if he's there in the second. Teams won't do that if they like that QB so much and think he's going to be their starter for years. But because of how good the 27 class is, I'd almost rather you just roll with Brissett, let him be the bridge instead of trading up for Ty Simpson and giving up your draft capital when this team needs rebuilding. Well, this team has roster holes in other areas, especially the O-line. You need an edge, you know? And so that's my take on the matter, but you got to be the GM for me in the comment section. If you're Monty Ossenford, would you trade up for Ty Simpson? Type T for trade up, type D for don't. Get a letter in that comment section to let me know where your head is at, Cardinals fans, but that's my take on the Ty Simpson matter. Real quick, we're going to address Carson Beck here because he's also being mocked to the Cardinals quite a few times now. This is starting to heat up as a third-round selection for Arizona, the Miami quarterback. I'm going to be honest with you guys, I'm not a huge fan of Carson Beck. You talk about game manager-style quarterbacks, I mean, that's the definition of it. You talk about a system quarterback, he's the definition of it. Miami, offensive line stacked, defensive front, defense stacked as a whole. That's why they're in the national championship game last year, not because of Carson Beck. He actually sold the game at the end, throwing an interception. He's been in college football for a long time. You know, that's not my answer either for the Cardinals. And they always say, hey, take a flyer on a quarterback. The third round is not a flyer on a quarterback. If you're taking a flyer, you could do that way later in the draft with prospects that I think actually have more upside than Carson Beck. There's some athletic QBs that are going to go in the 6th, 7th round the Cardinals could really take a flyer on and use the third round to address your big needs. Some late round options for you guys. So like I said, you're educated on everything that surrounds the Cardinals. Here's 10 on your screen. Baron Morton, who Chris Sims, take him with a grain of salt, but he actually has as a top 5 quarterback in the draft. Jalon Daniels out of Kansas. Taylor Green's an athletic freak out of Arkansas. Cole Payton getting a lot of buzz. Sawyer Robertson getting a lot of buzz. These guys are going to go way later than Carson Beck. And I'd almost rather take a flyer on. Not Diego Pavia, though. Not him. Joey Aguilar, though. Chris Sims loves him as well. Haynes King, I'm hearing buzz about. Miller Moss. These are all guys you can get way later. And I think the Cardinals would benefit from taking a late-round flyer on. So that's my take on the quarterback situation at 26. I think you're just waiting for 27 to get your franchise QB. But you need someone this year to somewhat try to be competitive. Okay? Tanking's illegal, folks. So I'll keep you updated on who that is for the Cardinals. That's why you hit that subscribe button for free if you want more Cardinals content. I appreciate you all tuning into the show. And like I said, I've got more Cardinals videos coming your way. So hit that subscribe button, turn the notifications on so you don't miss them. And I'll see you next time.